Here we go. All right. We're going to talk about mantras today. And you probably heard the word mantra, but if you haven't, we're going to get into like what a mantra actually is. So mantra means, it's an old word. It's from Sanskrit and it means mind vehicle, mantra. And that's what it does. It's basically a kind of a, think about when we talk about mindfulness, you give your monkey brain a job. This is just another job to give your monkey brain. So instead of watch your breathing or notice 5 different sounds around you, it's say the same phrase over and over. That's what a mantra is. It could be a word or phrase, something like that. And so it gives your like mind a vehicle for meditation, for calming down, for stress release, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm gonna let Moses in really quickly. And yes, awesome. So what we're doing is we're talking about mantras. And I am going to, since I'm recording, turn everybody's video off, but you guys are welcome to put in the chat. So we just talked about what a mantra is. A mantra is an old word from a very ancient language. No one speaks Sanskrit anymore, but it means mind vehicle. And it's basically a tool to give our monkey brains a job. So instead of just sitting and doing nothing, you give your brain a job. So, but we talk about like, have your brain watch your breath, have your brain watch your pulse, have your brain notice the sounds around you. This is say the same thing over and over. You can just repeat it in your mind or you can say it out loud. But that's what a mantra is. And so you say the same thing over and over. This is not, this is something that people have been doing for thousands of years. It's not just in mindfulness. There are lots of different like religious groups, various religious groups who do a version of mantra where they will pick a phrase or a verse or a word or some sort of sacred something and say it over and over. Does that mean that you have to ascribe to that religion to do this? No, this is something you can do totally separate from that or as part of your own spiritual practice. It's up to you. But the way we're going to study it today is through just saying it for the benefit of being mindful and being in the present moment. Your guys are actually going to be able to create your own mantra too. So we're going to get there. So mantra, and people say mantra is how you would technically say it, but typically in English, we're saying mantra, but however you prefer. If you'd like to say it mantra, please do. A tool used to focus the mind, a sacred utterance, a word or phrase used in a repetitive manner. So you just say the same thing over and over and over, and it's something that you can repeat. So I'll give you an example of one that I've used, and I used it when I was really big into running. I used to do running, and I used to run a lot of races. Let me first say, I am not a fast runner. I know that I'm not necessarily good at running. I just kind of got into it. I do, as a side tangent, totally encourage you, even if you're not good at something but you like it, do it. If you're not good at it but you like it, do it. You don't have to be the best at it. So I was definitely not the best at running, but I liked doing it. I need to get back into it. I enjoyed doing it, even though I was like, my body's not built to run long distances at a quick pace. However, I would do it and I would run, miles and miles, and I would kind of, it's a mind game when you're running that long. You kind of get in your head about like, I am really tired. I just want to sit down. I don't want to run anymore. I want to stop. But you know that you have to finish and you want to push yourself. So a lot of athletes will use a mantra or a phrase or a word to encourage them. So mine that I would always say to myself when I started to kind of feel myself kind of, is I would say, the faster you run, the sooner you're done. The faster you run, the sooner you're done. The faster you run, the sooner you're done. So that's what I would say in my head over and over and over again. And it helped me because it was like, not only did it take my mind off of the fatigue in my body, but also encouraged me, because it was true. It's like, if I run faster, if I push myself, I will be able to finish when I, sooner than I would if I gave up or if I slowed down. So that was my mantra that I did when I was running. So there are also mantras that people use in companies as well. So for the Smile Company, they say everyone deserves to smile. That's like their tagline, slogan, mantra. Apple's is think different. And usually mantras are very short so that you can repeat them or so that people can remember them. So we're not going to repeat Apple's mantra as we are meditating, or maybe you could. That should be a cool meditation. Be like, think different. But most of the time it's because they want it to stick and they want it to convey what they as a business are trying to get across, which Apple wants you to know that they are different, they are creative, they are out of the box, they are not standard. They're going to give you products that are innovative and fun and different. So their mantra, think different. Contently's is be awesome. Fenty Beauty is beauty for all. So it's very inclusive. This is beauty products for everybody. Huge is make something you love. Google is do the right thing. So it's very like, it's this moral value of like, we're going to do what's correct. We're going to do what's right. We're going to be here for the people. For 72 and Sunny, it's be brave and generous. And for Nike, just do it. Like, just get up and go, just move, just go. That's the Nike mantra, which you could totally make that a personal mantra. Just do it. Because especially if you suffer from decision fatigue, which is where you're like, I can't even decide what I want to wear today. I can't even decide what toppings I want on my pizza because I'm so sick of making decisions. I'm so sick of using my brain all day. Then maybe a mantra for you is just do it. Then just make a decision. My husband and I get into this all the time where we'll be looking for a restaurant to eat at and that one's got too long of a wait. Well, let's go over here. Well, that one's closed. And so then I get decision fatigue and I'm like, I really wanted that first restaurant, but the wait's too long. And then my second choice didn't work out either. So now I don't know what to do. I need to get into this just frozen up state of like, I can't even make a decision because I'm so sick of trying to, and the things I wanted didn't happen. Well, at that point, just do it. Just do it. Just decide something. It's better to settle than to try to find something perfect. So anyway, another mantra, perfect is the enemy of good. And that one is great because if you're a perfectionist and you want things to come out just right, sometimes that's worse than if you just have something that's good enough. If you're looking for things to be perfect all the time, you could, totally fail by not even trying. It's like, you can't, it's not gonna be perfect, so I'm not even gonna do it. Well, that's a failure versus I'm just gonna do something that's good. It's not perfect. Okay, that's better than nothing, right? Perfect is the enemy of good sometimes. Here are some mantras for mindfulness. So we talked about company mantras. We talked about if you're running, if you have a certain thing in your life, like you have this decision fatigue or whatever. Let's talk about them for mindfulness. Like, let's say you want to take a moment before you go to sleep at night and say something over and over to yourself for 3 minutes, just to give your brain a break. That would be a wonderful way to start your evening and go to bed and wind down. Here are some things you could say, and you got to find the one that works for you. So you might see these and be like, nah, that's fine. It might be here for somebody else, but for you, maybe these don't work. Maybe they do. One is I am safe. So you can say I am safe. People who are struggling with anxiousness, people who are struggling with fear, you can remind yourself that you're in a safe place, that you are safe, and that probably most of what you're worried about is in your head. You could just say inhale, exhale, and just think those words or say them aloud as you continue doing your mantra. I'm going to sneeze. Give me just a second. Excuse me. All right. I am enough. I am enough. If you struggle with self-worth, if you struggle with perfectionism, with trying to, with self-esteem, this is a great one. You could just say the word peace over and over. Peace, 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 peace. Just a value if you want to feel peaceful or you strive to encourage peace or you just want to think about a pleasant word. Peace is a very pleasant concept to think about things being at rest and being peaceful. I'm allowed to feel my feelings. I'm allowed to feel my feelings. And you could just say that over and over. Just ride this wave. Just ride this wave. Again, if things are going kind of rough or you're feeling negative feelings and you're struggling with that, just ride the wave. Just ride the wave. It helps us to know that it is temporary. It's just a wave and things are going to return back to normal. We just got to ride the wave. Om, which is a traditional, more like yoga type word. It's an old syllable. I'm going to find the exact meaning of it right here while we're sitting here because I don't want to tell you something wrong. But again, this is in a different language. And so if you're like, I don't want to say something that's not in a different language or that's not in English, then absolutely you don't have to. So it's supposed to be like the origin of the universe, basically like the whole universe in one sound. So if you want to think really big, you could think the universe. Que sera, sera, which is Spanish for what will be, will be. So again, we want to release control. Things are feeling really overwhelming. Que sera, sera, what will be, will be. All right, give me just 1 second. I'm going to pause the recording for just a moment. Another mantra you could use is breathe in the good stuff, breathe out the bad stuff. And you just repeat, breathe in the good stuff, breathe out the bad stuff. Again, some of these are really short, like just one word, peace, or I am safe. And then you also have longer ones. I'm allowed to feel my feelings, just ride the wave, breathe in the good stuff, breathe out the bad stuff. So let's create our own mantra. So here are some things if you want to create your own mantra, which I was telling a short story earlier that I had one for when I was back into running, and I would say the faster you run, the sooner you're done. And I would repeat that to myself over and over and over because I would get very tired in the middle of a long race. So that was my own that I made up in the middle of running, and it helped me because it kind of got my brain off of thinking how tired I was and also encouraged me to keep running, keep going. So keep it short. Mine rhymed even, which was helpful. The faster you run, the sooner you're done. It's okay to borrow a mantra that you've heard and be like, that works for me. I want to use that one. I know that's so-and-so's, or I know Ellen just said that one. That's fine. It's okay to change your mantra if it doesn't fit. If you sit with it for a second, you're like, I don't really like this one. I don't know if this one's going to work for me. Please change it. Please change it. Is there a word that you like? Like if you like the word peace, or you like the word love, or you need to feel safe. So you could say, I am safe, I am safe, or repeat peace, or repeat harmony. You know, there's whatever word works for you. Compassion, you want to show love to people and animals, and compassion, you know. Is there a quote that you could bend into a mantra? So I'm trying to think of a short quote just off the top of my head. There's, I mean, again, we talked about the Nike one, which is just do it, but there's a famous Latin quote called Age quod agis, which means do what you're doing. And so that's a famous quote. I did not make it up, but it's one of my favorite quotes for my life, which is whatever you're doing, be all there. And so you could shorten it to be all there, be all there, be all there. And that could remind you to be awake for your own life, engaged in what's going on. So that is another thing that you could do. Here are some phrases that you could borrow. You are stronger than you think. And I would change that to I am stronger than I think, because you're talking about yourself, right? Or you could say, do what you love. Don't worry, be happy. The future is ahead. This too shall pass. There's a bunch of stuff. So let's just take a second because we've got a few minutes left. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes where I say absolutely nothing. You can use the words you see here. You could think about your own word. And if you're like, this feels weird, I'm not sure about it, then I just invite you, you don't even have to meditate on it. Just pick a word that you like. It can be one on the screen right here, but find a word that feels good. It's a peaceful word. If you want to come up with a phrase that you would repeat, absolutely feel free. So let's just do 2 minutes. And then if anybody wants to put in the chat what they've picked after that 2 minutes is over, awesome. But I'm going to try to create one for where I am today. That's the other beautiful thing about mantras. You can change it for every day. So I had one for 2 weeks ago, and it was like my weekly mantra was slow down. That was my thing, slow down. I am always in a hurry to do everything. It's like, hey, slow down, you know? So let's just take two minutes and then we'll come back. Would love to hear from you guys, but 2 minutes to come up with a word or a phrase that might be a good mantra for you. I'll let you know when the time is done. Got about a minute left. Just think about a word or a phrase. Might be a good mantra. Or go back to some other examples. All right, that's time right there, folks. If you came up with a word or a phrase and you want to share it in the chat, please drop it. I'll tell you what I came up with. I was just thinking about what's a good mantra for, I was thinking about how nice it was today, how the weather is so good, and maybe an appropriate mantra that could relate to the weather or the season we're in. And I thought about, fall is my favorite season, but it's also a time of change and transition. We're moving out of the warm season and eventually into winter, the cold season. I traditionally don't like winter, which I'm working on that. I want to, appreciate it. I think there's a lot of good things in wintertime too. But I picked the mantra of embrace change. Embrace change. And that could be something I could repeat to myself throughout this week. Anytime I feel resistant to letting things go, anytime that I feel like I want things to remain the same, that's okay. Embrace it. It's all right. Things are meant to change. It's one of the only things that's guaranteed in life is change. So tell me what your word or phrase was. This is really hard, y'all. So if you're like, I have no idea, then you are totally fine. I get that this is a difficult thing to do, to ask you to come up with a word or a phrase that you can repeat. But again, just a pleasant word like peace or love or courage, brave, compassion, just any one of those words. You could just, every time you get a notification on your device or every time that you hear some sort of bell ring, when your class changes, just think that word and be like, okay, peace. I'm going to feel peace today, So it doesn't have to be as formal as all that, or you keep it as basic as inhale, exhale. That's a perfect mantra too. So hope this was interesting for y'all. Hope you guys liked it. You can do it. That is a fantastic mantra. I love that. Sometimes don't we feel like we can't do it? Aren't we just this my inner critic in my head? You can't do that. Wouldn't it be great to have the it's not worth it. Okay, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So maybe instead of engaging in something that maybe would be harmful for us to engage in, a confrontation, a decision that might negatively affect us physically, mentally, emotionally, or in our relationships, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I love that. Beautiful mantra. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, y'all. Appreciate it. So we're actually going to stop the recording